What's up? Black men can't whoop their sons and daughters. Now, if there's any man out there who's trying to self-improve, learn more history, about Black history, of course, become more financially literate, just practices, daily practices to help you love yourself as a Black person, and just a deep dive into what we can do as a community. I have a step-by-step guide in the bio section of my channel. If you're interested in that, improving as a Black man, coming together with your community, I would suggest you look at that. You look into that. Back to the video. Now, this is something I've been meaning to talk about for a while, and I had to really understand what I want to really say. And I think there's so many times in the Black community where stuff gets passed down mindlessly, which means I'm only gonna do something because my parents did it and they thought it was right, and so I'm gonna do it because I think it's right, right? But that's being blindless to really look at what's helping and what's hurting. I can tell you, my parents grew up, whooping me. I stopped getting whoopings probably when I was 12 or something like that. Uh, and I can tell my parents only did it because their parents said their parents thought it was right because their parents did it to them. They've even done studies that the kids who constantly get whooped and constantly get beat, they have more emotional problems and more aggression, and they have more dysfunctional relationships. You can't beat a kid, make that kid feel pain, and then think that that's not going to affect them as they get older, their confidence in themselves, right? And the sad thing is that's rampant in the Black community. I've had family members, and I've had family members who they whoop their kids like anytime they got a chance, they whoop their kids, and then their kids will grow up and their kids will cuss them out. Their kids will steal from them. Their kids, once they grow up all the way, they won't even go back and check on their mom or anything like that. I've seen that even in my own family, right? But that's not to say that any one of them are evil. That's to say that you can't be beating on a child and think that that's not gonna cause relationship issues, not only with you and them, but also with other people they interact with in life. That's why, if God blesses me with kids and I want to, spread this word out to just, the younger generation of parents too. Uh, it's not always be logical about it. Look what's gonna actually help and what's gonna actually hurt. When Black men embody that mentality of, I'm gonna just whoop my kids every time they do something wrong, that's the problem. A lot of growing up, a lot of the times, there can be kids who they do bad and then their parents immediately beat them, right? But whenever their kids needs help, they won't help them. You get what I'm saying? So you have to understand that, man, and we have to. This is why I'm telling you. This is why you want to be able to use your own mind. Don't just do stuff that your parents did and just think, oh, that's okay, because it was just passed down. They did it to me. No, you're trying to make your kids better than you, right? So you don't want to do all the same things like that. And on top of that, this is why it's important that you find the right wife, and if you're a woman, that you find the right man, because any any parent who is gonna beat their kids constantly, they have problems with themselves. I'm telling you, they have problems with themselves, right? They used to make me so angry growing up. You would see somebody parent, they just beat their kids, and then you can't call the police, you can't do any of that, and that parent just constantly do that and constantly do that, right? We have to stop that. We have to put an end to. We have to put an end to that, because that's not helping us. That's causing the kids to have more problems inside the family. Because imagine if the father isn't already there. Imagine if the father isn't there, but then you got a mom just beating on you all the time, for no reason, just about, right? This is stuff we have to really get into if we want to see the younger generation of black men thrive and the younger generation of black women thrive. I'm talking about as far as uh emotional health and relationship health. You can't beat your kids and expect, that's just why I won't be beating my kids, because I don't want my kids to grow up thinking that's okay. Really, I don't want them to grow up to think, oh, you have to beat your kids for them to understand you, for them to listen to you, for them to understand you, right? If you already give them a conversation and you never whoop them, they're gonna heed to what you're saying, right? And I'm no perfect parent. I'm not a parent. I don't have kids, right? But I understand stuff like that really does matter, right? And it starts with black men embodying that they're going to use their mind and they're going to sit and make sure their kids understand why they shouldn't do something, or um if they do discipline them, they're not disciplining them in a way of physical pain. Oh, I gotta beat you for you to do right. You get what I'm saying? A lot of this takes us getting away from this older generation of how they do stuff, because a lot of times they don't even know why they did it. They just did it because their parents did it, and their parents was beating them, and their parents was doing all type of crazy stuff to them. Right? We have to stop that. All the men have to stop that. And this is, to me, this is going to be a better thing, because you're raising that young man with a mentality that, okay, I can talk to you before I revert to violence. You get what I'm saying? I can sit here and be civilized instead of acting out, getting aggressive, and you only gonna listen to me if I fight you. Same thing with the girl. And that's why I feel like you see a lot of women probably end up in abusive relationships. Their parents always beating them. Now the only way they know how love really is if somebody's beating them. And you can say, "Oh, it's a whooping. You can't do that. That's all right. You can whoop them." No, you can't. And I've experienced this firsthand. Like, you can't keep doing that. We can't keep doing that. We can't expect our kids to have good relationships when they get older, when they're grown, if you grew up beating your kids relentlessly for any and everything that they did wrong. You can't do that. And you did that over giving them a conversation. And some parents think, oh, I'm gonna whoop them and I'm gonna give them a conversation. No, because the whooping right there, that's what's causing the problem. So you're still trying to mash it in like, oh, this is what real discipline is. No, that's just a passed down thing that is meaningless. That should have been stopped, because once you start to think about it, it's like, I'm about to beat my child. No, I don't care what my child did wrong. I'm not about to beat them, right? Because a lot of these parents would never let another grown adult beat their kids how they beat their kids. And that's, to me, that's the delusion a lot of these parents have. A lot of these in the black community. So I would just say we got to get away from that, and we got to understand that's not how we have healthy relationships. It's not going to be through beating your kids and physical pain. So yeah.